Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. I wasn't sure if I'd be covering PvP topics too much again. Whenever I do, it feels like I'm walking into an infinite salt mine of people shouting at each other, and it just seems to always invite negative arguments more so than anything constructive or positive. However, the changes proposed at this point in time have included some things which I've been advocating for some time now. So I at least want to cover it quickly for you guys, break it down and see what the next set of updates are going to be, because I think there are many positives in this. I expected following the last test it would have been heralded as a complete success and same faction Battlegrounds would follow shortly after, simply because who in their right mind is going to complain at their queue times going from over 1 hour to a couple of minutes? It unquestionably opened up an area of the game to the majority of the player base and should lead to a more healthy instanced PvP population as a whole. Fair play to Blizzard, they've heard the numerous feedback and they're taking a second look, doing another week's worth of Battleground testing. I assume it will just be in North America again. Sorry my second class EU brethren. Yeah, it kind of sucks. And after reading opinions online about the proposed changes, it's been a total mess. I've heard, oh boy, the Alliance are going to be so mad at this. Oh boy, the Horde are going to be so mad at this. And with a light sprinkling of Final Fantasy good, wow, bad. And if everyone's mad, I take that as to some extent the update serves to benefit both sides of the coin in one way or another. Anywho, let's take a look at this thing. I'm only going to be reading through certain bits because it's kind of long. We've heard a clear majority of players telling us that they preferred same faction Battlegrounds after our first test. During the test, we saw the benefits of drastically lowered queue times and less unavoidable ganking in the outdoor world. However, there was a significant number of concerns registered on other related topics. We noticed that players were dismayed when the system occasionally launched Alliance versus Alliance Battlegrounds. We reduced the likelihood of that a couple of hours into the test and we think we can do a little more there. I'd say it's probably a bit more surprise than dismay. With the whole queues, they clearly had a vast majority of people in the Battleground pool looking to group up. So it was kind of expected from an Alliance player's perspective to just get Horde every game. So when that didn't happen, it made it seem like the matchmaker was just broken, but fair enough. Moving on, the quick queues revealed that a noticeable number of players were doing Battlegrounds in organized raids. This makes sense. The time it takes to form a premade is time well invested for those players. But for a large number of players who choose to queue alone, there's essentially no hope of winning the Battleground. There are a couple of ways we can try addressing this, and in this next test, we'd like to try restricting groups to a maximum of 5 players in all Battlegrounds. This should have the added benefit of allowing players who are in groups to quest while waiting for the Battlegrounds. Wow, it's actually happening. Maybe. I thought it was past the time when this would really get people back and make a difference. We shall see. It's a test after all. Pre-mading is now 5 people only. I fully expect this to be the most contentious change made, as it directly negatively impacts honor per hour earned, which for a lot of people is all Battlegrounds are. They don't really want to be there. They want their gear and to never have to touch them again and be able to play arena. But overall, I hope it will result in more even Battlegrounds. Or maybe every other game is just 2 premades on either side facing each other. This aids the more casual side of the player base, which again is good, by reducing the chance they just insta-lose when they're against a full stack due to how little impact they can have on the game. And both factions again have an equal chance to roll a dice getting pugs in the game who have no gear or just don't really know what they're doing. Reduction in size of a friend group you can play with sucks, but I think it has to at least be tried out. I've been against premade versus premade in the past, way since the days of Classic, solely because I think it would be dead content. However, we're also testing same faction Battlegrounds at the same time. With that system in place, it would likely be fine and queues would pop, albeit maybe it would only be truly active on Battleground weekends, though at that point, why stop pretending? Just call it rated Battlegrounds and be done with it. There still very much may be valid concerns that even if these changes go through, the amount of honor required to actually get your blue PvP set is just excessive. But if that were fixed, people would be getting their sets, they'd be stepping foot into the arena, and then it would be, wow, I'm playing against the same class combos every single time. These classes have 1 full minute of offensive and defensive cooldowns to blow through, while you're there on your shaman looking at your bar trying to find Hex and Thunderstorm. Moving on though, a major point of discussion was the perception that the faction a majority of players chose for their main character would see all players switch to it, unless we change the game to either reward the minority faction, punish the majority faction, or prevent players from choosing to play on the majority faction in the first place. Most changes that might come to mind would conflict with our stated goals above, which I'll also link on screen. Still, we'd like to see what happens when we place a reward for the minority faction into the game. Globally, the faction imbalance is small, but the trend over the last few months has been towards lower Battleground participation rate among Alliance players. Again, I've given this one a mention previously, incentivize the Alliance to want to queue Battlegrounds. Even in Classic, when our public perspective led us to believe Alliance were the majority, Horde had queues. Interestingly, they do consider 2 other options as well: punish the majority faction or prevent people from rolling there in the first place. But I think this is the best one and should be the least harmful. Awaiting to see what the reward is. It says the enlistment bonus will be a repeatable level 70 quest offered by the Alliance Brigadier General in any Alliance capital city or Shatrath. The quest rewards a Battleground win, must win by the way, with a box of loot that includes an appropriate amount of consumables, crafting materials, and currencies/tokens. Having items that carry a monetary value in there is a little spooky, not gonna lie. Imagine if Alliance Battlegrounds become the new best gold maker per hour or something. Also, currencies or tokens, are these pertaining to PvP, or are we talking about the tokens from freeing NPCs from the ethereal prisons here? The carrot is the key. We will see what's in the box very soon. Also mentioned the matchmaker will take a little bit more time to find an opposite faction match than it did during the first test. So very surprisingly, I'm happy to see things that I've suggested are going to be tested. Yes, I get to see if I'm a clueless player who doesn't understand developer stuff or whether some of these will actually be good. Happy to see key issues vocalized by myself and many other players addressed, at least in the capacity considered for PvP specific to Battlegrounds here, such as the fairness of matchmaking and trying to get Alliance players to want to press the Q Battleground button a bit more. We need to see what's in that reward box though. That's going to be very important. That's it though. Let me know your thoughts. As always, thank you all so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you all in the next one very soon.